Y aquí la gran jugada del pescadito, se la lleva con el taco, hace pasar de largo una, otra vez al defensor, ajusticia el arquero, golazo de Carlos Ruiz.
Hola amigos, les saluda Carlos Ruiz, jugador de Los Ángeles Galaxy y jugador de selección guatemalteca. Los invito a ver el fútbol de Guatemala por Gol TV.
2002 World Cup begins in Mazatenango, Guatemala for the United States as World Cup qualifying play begins.
Vamos ahora a otro de los partidos muy esperados, Guatemala, jugando muy lejos de la capital. Ante el calor de Mazatenango, enfrentaba a la selección de ese hombre, Bruce Arena. Estados Unidos, tiro libre para Estados Unidos, la pelota se debía en el arquero. Luego, sobre el final del primer tiempo, Razov iba a señalar el gol que le iba a dar a Estados Unidos el 1-0. Ahí está, un calor agobiante, un segundo tiempo que se jugó prácticamente caminando. Pero luego, sobre el final, la selección guatemalteca iba a lograr el gol del empate, largamente festejado por intermedio de Carlos Ruiz. Guatemala pues se ganó el cariño de su público, empató con Estados Unidos 1-1 en esta primera jornada. Otro partido también de esta...
Sin embargo, los Chapines fueron a Legion Field de Birmingham, Alabama, a poner en juego su invicto en el actual proceso calificatorio. Primi, buena suerte en esta noche. La afición respondió en buen número. Al minuto 10, Eddie Lewis daba para Landon Donovan y después sería Eric Johnson el que batería a Ricardo Trigueño. Con esto, el joven Eddie suma su octavo gol en 7 partidos como seleccionado nacional. Que bien ha respondido este joven y mejor se ha encontrado con Landon Donovan, otro joven que vuelve a la MLS. Minuto 66, Carlos el Pescadito Ruiz perdió el mano a mano contra Casey Keller. Se mantenía el 1-0 para el conjunto de las Barras y las Estrellas. 2 minutos después, Carlos Bocanegra con el pelotazo, Eric Johnson que la dejaba pasar y Steve Ralston marca el 2-0 final. Los estadounidenses no pierden ante los Chapines desde el 10 de enero de 1988.
To win it. 4-3 the final score. Soccer coming your way next. USA and Guatemala. Thanks for joining us. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. We go to JP and Marcelo and soccer next.
Welcome everyone to this World Cup qualifier from Guatemala City. We know the baseball game ran late, so we'll get you caught up in this World Cup qualifier. That's a huge game for Guatemala. They need points in the standings. USA have already clinched a berth thanks to their win over Mexico, and they have an entirely different team out there than the team that played against Mexico in Columbus, Ohio, as it's played up by Quaranta and now taken away by Guatemala. No Carlos Ruiz tonight for Guatemala. He is suspended. That is a big loss. He picked up a yellow card last weekend and he lost to Trinidad and Tobago. Here's Thompson. Guatemala in white. Acevedo lost it on the touch. So did Ramirez. Quaranta, or Mastroeni I should say, playing it all the way back toward Marcus Hahnemann. USA lineup looking different, especially in goal with Marcus Hahnemann.
No doubt, still sticking to the 4-4-2, but in the back you got Vanny, Chad Marceau, Jimmy Conrad, Chris Albright on the right-hand side. In the midfield, Bobby Convey out on the left, Mastriani, Dempsey, Quarantas out on the right, and up front, Taylor Twillman and Jeff Cunningham.
USA looking for some chemistry tonight from Cunningham and Twellman as a duo. Here is Thompson. Coming back was Vanny, but the foul was called. Free kick coming up for Guatemala. It started to rain here about 2 or 3 minutes before kickoff, and it has not slowed down all that much. That one goes already back to Marcus Hahnemann. For Guatemala, their lineup tonight different because of no Ruiz. Miguel Clee is in goal.
And they're sticking to the same thing they played last game, 4-4-2. Big guys there for them is number 3, Melgar. He's one of the key guys in the middle. In the midfield, Ramirez is the key guy, plays for the LA Galaxy. Up front, Plata is the guy they're looking for alongside is Acevedo.
Throw in USA in blue. Intended for Dempsey. That's blocked. Freddie Thompson with room to run. Conrad angles him off. Into the middle it goes. Acevedo blocked. Stepping up, clearing it, was Albright all the way back the other way. '27th minute. We welcome those joining us late after the baseball games have ended now. USA and Guatemala scoreless. Not a lot of great chances so far. USA, Cello, you were saying before, struggling in the early going because of chemistry. 11 new starters.
11 new starters is going to take time to find the rhythm. The first 15 minutes they came out, they were separated. They didn't work as a group. Now they've kind of settled down. They're starting to play their positions, but there's no flow to the game yet. They're missing a Claudio Reyna. They're missing the playmaker. Dempsey's the guy that has to get the ball. Pablo Mastroianni have to get the ball, settle it down, start spraying the ball wide. They need to get Bobby Convey involved. They need to get Santino Carantas involved. That's what they need to do, and eventually they're going to get the ball to the two center forwards, but they need to find some rhythm.
Bruce Arena looking, he said earlier this week, at maybe 10 new players. I shouldn't say new players, but 10 players who do not have spots. So if you're reading between the lines, maybe 13 slots are filled out of the 23. That means 10 players still will be decided. Here's Freddie Thompson. Off Ramirez. Quaranta couldn't find it. Mastroianni helps. Pablo wearing the captain's armband tonight and took a tumble there as he got clipped. The ball goes out of play. And for Pablo Mastroianni, got to hope that he's okay. He's had a lot of injury problems this year, both with the Colorado Rapids and USA national team. Cello bouncing back and forth.
I can tell you that was a payback. Pablo laid a tackle into the midfield. He got nailed. All of a sudden, Ramirez comes back in. You can see right there, swings through, just clips Pablo right in the ankle, and Pablo's still down. But that was a payback for the tackle that Pablo laid into the midfield, and that's you got to protect your player, and that's what Ramirez was doing.
Bruce Arena sent all of his European players back to their clubs, with the exception of Bobby Convey and also Marcus Hahnemann. So he's giving opportunities to other players. And I think you'll still see that, Cello, not just this game, but their final two qualifiers, and then in other games that they'll be playing next year.
You've got two different scenarios. The U.S. has already qualified. This is an opportunity for these young gentlemen out of these 11 starters today to fight for those 10 spots, trying to make the World Cup team. It takes between now and June 9th, when the World Cup starts, for these players to prove to Bruce Arena and the rest of the coaching staff they belong. And this is a huge test. This is the kind of atmosphere that's going to be in a World Cup. If they can handle this kind of atmosphere, they can handle playing in a World Cup. And those are what you're looking for. You're looking for those 2 or 3, maybe 4 players that can handle this kind of pressure.
There may be other auditions for MLS players later that we have not seen yet, and other players playing in Europe that just haven't had much of a chance so far. Loose ball in the box the other way, and Hahnemann. That's the first big save of the game. Corner kick, first one for Guatemala.
And you can see a little mistake. The ball skips by. Plata was right there. Marcus Hahnemann, great job. Gets off his line. Right here, little flick. Here comes Plata. Comes out. Look at Marcus Hahnemann. Comes out, keeps down low. Makes a great save to keep the U.S. at an even tie.
It's cleared away. Up for Cunningham, who right now is by himself. Dempsey came through and got tripped up, and he's not happy about that. This portion of the match brought to you by Gatorade. USA will have a free kick. Mastroianni is back on the field, so that is good news for both he and the U.S. And as we mentioned, wearing the captain's armband with Reyna back in Europe. That's Vanny, number 3. He plays for FC Dallas. All of these players, with the exception of Convey and Hahnemann, are currently playing in Major League Soccer. Quaranta. And that's wide of Klee. This is such a huge game for Guatemala, especially because of the loss the other day against Trinidad and Tobago. They have 7 points, tied with Trinidad and Tobago for 4th place. USA is number 1, Mexico number 2. Mexico playing Panama tonight, and if Mexico gets even a draw, they will become the 2nd CONCACAF team to qualify. Top 3 go in. 4th place team will play versus a 5th place team in a playoff. And that 5th place team will be from Asia, either Bahrain or Uzbekistan. 32nd minute, an Albright throw-in. Guatemala getting it back. This team has a hard time scoring goals. They've had 11 in this last round, but 5 came in one game early against Trinidad and Tobago. And Ruiz has been the guy that really scores the most for this team in qualifying, and he's out with that yellow card he picked up against Trinidad. That ball looks like it's headed out, and does, despite a great effort on that right side from Ponciano. Throw in for Greg Vanny. Looking for Twellman, that's cut off. Huron sends it back. Melgar. Pressured by Cunningham, and the ball rolls out. It's a Guatemala throw in. Cunningham and Twellman paired up top. In the middle. It's played across by Thompson. Now towards the Ramirez, cut off. USA on that right side. That's Albright, who is a converted striker. Albright was on the 2000 Olympic team. Now right back for the LA Galaxy and the national team. Guatemala getting it back. Lead pass, flag up on Acevedo. That's a couple of times tonight. ESPN2's presentation of U.S. Soccer is brought to you by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure, the king of beers. By Philips, technology should be as simple as the box it comes in. And by CompUSA. Visit CompUSA today for all your technology needs. Guatemala breaks up the play. Intended for Romero, cut off by Mastroeni. Pablo's pass is picked off. Conrad heads it over to Vanny. 34th minute. Convey, the cross, deflects. Cunningham, a chance, blocked. He had a great opportunity to bury it, get the game's first goal.
But, and you know, when it's like this, it's wet, a little bit of luck. The ball gets crossed in by Convey, drops right back to Jeff Cunningham. He tries to bend the far post, and he hits his own teammate.
Dempsey goes the other way. And now the ball comes back toward Marcus Hahnemann. Greg Vanny. Convey. Pressured by Ponciano. Guatemala wins it. Huron tries to slip it through. That was well read and cut off there by Marshall. Now that shot is well off target. Wide of Hahnemann. From Huron.
I think the U.S. will be happy from that. All the shots they've had except for the Plata's ball inside the 6, everything else has been about 25, 30 yards. That means the defense is doing their job. They're getting a shot.
Hahnemann looking for Twellman in the air. And that's going to go out of play. Goal kick. Played it to the right side. Ponciano. This portion of the match brought to you by Nike. Huron playing it back. Ramirez. Ramirez playing it over. However, Ponciano has to wait for it. A lot of these Guatemala players did not play in that first game against the USA. A 2-0 USA win. They've made several roster changes. Ramirez lost it there. U.S. getting it back. Albright. That one took too long to develop. Knocked away and last touched apparently by Albright. So it belongs to Guatemala.
There's just not enough options. When the U.S. gets the ball, Taylor Twellman takes off forward. Cunningham takes off forward. There's a big gap in the middle where Dempsey and Pablo Mastroeni have to be. They have to find a way. Somebody's got to check in. Somebody's got to make a run. There's got to be better movements to open up the Guatemalan defense.
Left side, Vanny. And he's blocked. 36 minutes gone. Scoreless first half. Long ball right. Cut off. Conrad stumbling, but made the nice recovery. Conrad's one of those guys that nobody talked about from a national team standpoint only months ago, and now he is a part of the picture.
Well, he had a very good Gold Cup, and now he gets an opportunity to play at a level like this. The U.S. coaching staff is going to keep an eye on Conrad because the fact they want to see how he does in these kind of situations.
Ramirez, the cross, one header, then a second. Guatemala getting more chances lately, but they're coming from fairly far out.
Good cross coming in here. Little flick. There's Acevedo right there getting at. Just putting it over the top. Well marked that two guys shouldn't be able to get to a header like that between two guys.
Hahnemann sends that one a mile. Ramirez after it. He and Albright have had a battle there, and as we mentioned before, they were teammates with the LA Galaxy, but definitely opponents tonight. Albright's going to have a free kick. They call the foul on Ramirez. Put up by Dempsey. Twellman lost his footing as he played it back on the left. Vanny to Convey. Convey, that's another big move he's made on that left side tonight. He'll put it over. Clean handles it. Loose ball for Cunningham. Doesn't go in. Corner kick, USA, their third. But Convey has made things happen on that left flank.
Now, besides the red card against Trinidad, he had a pretty good game. Got the assist on the cross right here. Great job, one-on-one. Gets the by, crosses in, but that's really like, look at Taylor Twellman getting up there. Look at Dempsey getting right back in there. You got to give credit to the Guatemalan defense, but you got to give credit to U.S. Dempsey and Twellman for getting their bodies in there and trying to get that ball into the goal.
USA on the corner. Convey sends it inside. It's up for grabs, and actually there's a push inside going against the U.S. Ball belongs to Guatemala in the 39th minute. Cello, for those of us that joined late because of the baseball games, has either side in your mind had an edge here in the first half?
Yeah, Guatemala's had a few better chances, but you can see they're playing with the pressure. The U.S. is doing a good job of closing them down. Just had the better run of play, knocked it around more, kept possession more. The U.S. just hasn't got into a flow yet. They're starting to settle down now. They're starting to defend better. They're starting to push a third guy like Convey up to protect it and forcing Guatemala to hit long balls, and that's what you want with two big guys in the back with Chad Marshall and Jimmy Conrad.
It's really a must-win game for Guatemala. They're playing next at Mexico and then closing at home against Costa Rica. So they're playing the three best teams in CONCACAF in the stretch drive. Cunningham will catch up to this ball right. The cross, clean. Dempsey slipped as he tried to hit that ball first time with the left foot, but Klee is really struggling in goal. Maybe part of it is the wet ball, who knows, but he's not catching, he's not punching with the two fists, just the one hand, and he's awkward.
You can't say that should have been tipped wide for a corner kick. You don't slap a ball back into the middle of the 18 so a guy can get off a shot. That's just bad goalkeeping.
Yeah, he was lucky.
That's bad goalkeeping.
If Dempsey doesn't fall, it's probably 1-0. U.S. Here's Albright. Cunningham lost it, tries to win it back. Guatemala takes it over. '41st minute, halfway line. Plata now pushing it forward. Lead pass. Acevedo, Thompson looking, shooting wide of the diving Hahnemann.
Well, that's Freddie Thompson. Bends a great ball. Marcus Hahnemann's right there. I tell you what, that was very close. I don't know if you can tell from there. He bends that ball at good pace, just puts it right by the goal. Wow.
Well, Freddie Thompson's never scored a goal for his country, but he came pretty close there. Quirón in the middle for Guatemala. 42nd minute. That's going to be tackled out. It belongs to the United States.
Here's the other problem I see right now, JP. The fact that you see Jeff Cunningham and Taylor Twellman really haven't connected yet for anything, be it a flick, be it a 1-2. They're so far apart. They need to find a way to get closer together and start feeding off each other. Play the ball in, play the ball out. Try to match up almost even so you can get in behind the defense.
No one has been able to give them a good supply of the ball either from a midfield attacking position to help generate the offense. Foul was called back at the other end. That's Chad Marshall. Just his second game for the U.S. in his first ever game, he scores a goal against Colombia. So a great debut. They like his size, Cello, 6'3", 190.
Yeah, and we were never that big, except for Lexi. But you got to like the size of them, the pace. Now it's a matter of getting them games. And bottom line, the guys that make this team, the 23-man roster, are the guys that are going to play well January, February, and March.
Thompson's cross. 2 players down. Hahnemann picks it up. Incidental contact, apparently, is the case there. 43rd minute. Hahnemann was looking for Cunningham. Guatemala back on it in the 43rd. Thompson. Not that much of a push by Mastroeni, but it's called. Free kick, Guatemala. And they'll take this from way out. Gonzalo Romero. Picked off by Convey. Nobody there on that left side. And Klee will play it to Melgar. Pablo Melgar, Freddie Thompson stepping in. Convey trying to win it. He gets called for the foul. Elmer Ponciano plays it back. Melgar. Long ball cut off by Albright. Quaranta looking for Cunningham. Klee is there near the edge of the box. In the middle, held up there by Guatemala. Twellman heading it down for Cunningham. On the turn, broken up. Quaranta stepping in. Instead, Ramirez. He got hit. Coming up at halftime, we'll take a behind-the-scenes look back at that memorable clash between the USA and Mexico last Saturday. Plus, we'll have some highlights here from Guatemala City. If you were at that game as part of Sam's Army and some of the other great U.S. soccer fans, you'll probably want to see that because you saw it at the game, but you may see some great pictures that you weren't even aware of at the time. Great atmosphere last Saturday. We congratulate all the USA soccer fans who came out to watch it. Guatemala with the ball. Last minute, depending on stoppage time, of course, as Hahnemann has it. Hahnemann wants his players to go deep. Marcus, a former member of the Colorado Rapids of Major League Soccer. Twellman thought he had somebody closer. Sanabria. And he just gives away possession. USA throw-in. And that attack broken up. Cunningham was foiled.
And that's the thing it's going to take a lot of these guys time to get used to. You see them trying to dribble, they lose the ball. The pace at the international level is a lot faster. It's not the same as the MLS pace, but it's going to take time for a lot of the U.S. guys to get used to this kind of pace. Cunningham got the ball, tried to dribble. He's been losing quite a few. It's a faster game. You got to move it, you got to pass it, and get into a different space.
Decent ball over on that left wing. Sanabria pushing forward with time running out of the first half. And that's going to do it. Well, the first half has come to a close. Fairly physical here in Guatemala amidst great atmosphere. Come back with us, and when we return, we'll give you a special look behind the scenes of game day, USA versus Mexico. Guatemala played to a scoreless first half of play. There were a few good chances in that first half, but not a whole lot. And Marcelo Balboa, is this the kind of game you expected from one team desperate like Guatemala and another team that's going with 11 new starters?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you expect. Guatemala came out firing on all cylinders, trying to put pressure on the U.S., and they did, and then they settled down. The U.S. was expected not to come out and have too much rhythm. A lot of new players, 11 new guys out there, and the opportunity for these guys to play, but you weren't expecting much rhythm, and that's what we've had so far the first 45 minutes.
Guatemala may have had the better chances in that first half of play, but Marcus Hahnemann had to be strong.
No doubt. And you can see here from the Phillips goal cam from behind, Bobby Conby gets the ball, deflects it off a cross. Here comes the goalkeeper. Here's Twellman. That's what Twellman's about, getting his body in there, just putting enough on there. Dempsey's there, can't seem to reach it, but that's what we talk about. That's where you like Dempsey. Look at the way he gets up. He fights right back in, gets it, just puts it over the top. But that's the aggressiveness of these guys. And Guatemala had a great job. Freddie Thompson from a shot from about 35 yards hits it on Marcus Hahnemann, and I tell you what, that thing just went wide, and those were the two best chances they had, both teams, in the first half.
We will see what the second half brings. Maybe more rain, maybe more substitutions. Find out with us when we return to Mateo Flores Stadium in Guatemala. USA and Guatemala are scoreless in this World Cup qualifier.
Coming next summer.
Teams just coming back out onto the field to get ready to start the second half. Guatemala may make a change or two. They're the team more desperate for points in the standings. USA, well, Bruce Arena may give guys a little more opportunity to show something in this audition. While we have this opportunity, we invite you to log on to MLS. One sub, we believe Ramirez is coming out for Guatemala. And Minor Davila is going to come in for him. Ramirez was not really effective in that first half of play. But that's a guy that's been around, so it's somewhat surprising.
Jared Borghetti, Cinia. Jared, a Borghetti, el remate.
Regarding the baseball games and coming in late, but a happy 26th anniversary today to ESPN, and many of us working this game tonight remember when it all began 26 years ago. Getting ready for the second half kickoff. Cunningham and Twellman over the ball. Marcelo, you were mentioning that they weren't really combining all that well in the first half. We're not sure how much longer they'll have to try to combine here in the second.
They have time. You're not going to make these subs. You got to give these guys, you have to give these players the opportunity to play. You can't give them 45 minutes. That's not. You got to give them 90 minutes. You have to look at them over a period of 2 or 3 games to see what they can do.
Mastroeni will play it across. Vanny on the left. We'd like to thank Budweiser and all of our U.S. soccer sponsors for allowing us to bring you this game without interruption. Free kick is coming up. That's the new player, Minor Davila. He was on the roster the last time these two clubs met in Birmingham. Takedown on that far side. Free kick coming up for the United States.
And for the U.S., it's about possession. They need to keep the ball. They need to move it. They need to work it from side to side until they find an opening.
Convey and Quaranta over the ball. One-time teammates with DC United. Quaranta sending it inside. That's blocked right up the middle. Taken over by Guatemala in white. Slowed down by Albright. And Albright fouled. Did a good job there, though, in stopping the play tactically. Sanabria. Nobody open there on the left side. Hiron was the closest. Hahnemann comes out, clears it, and Marcus let that one get away. Throw it, Guatemala. Quaranta coming back. Wide left. USA attacks across the halfway line. Vanny trying to find Albright, picked off. Davila. Savedo. More possession from Guatemala. Sanabria on the left. Minor Davila. Slowed down by Albright. Davila pushing. Leads in. And on that challenge, the foul was called in the United States. So this will give Guatemala their best opportunity on a free kick situation. Freddie Thompson down.
There you can see Greg Vandy got caught on the outside. It looked like Freddie Thompson came inside. He had to try to tackle him, mistimed it, and got a foul right there. But that's when you need to pinch, and the ball's on the left side of the field. Vandy needs a pinch on the right, leave the far exposed. You can see just mistimes it right there and takes down Freddie Thompson.
Well, Ramirez in the first half would be the one to take these free kicks, but he's out, subbed out. So we'll see who gets the call against Hahnemann. This is about 25 yards from goal. And there's a committee around the ball for Guatemala. 4 players around it. Trying to decoy it. Left there. About the shot off the wall. Cleared by Dempsey. And then Convey mishits. Goes out for a throw-in. 49th minute. If the USA do make any changes in the lineup in the second half, it'll be interesting to see if Eddie Johnson makes an appearance. He's missed the last 4 World Cup qualifiers with a foot injury or toe injury. And that was the guy that was on a great scoring pace. He scored 8 goals in his first 8 international games. Cannot do any better than that. It's not realistic. Even those numbers are astronomical. On the free kick inside, that's blocked. Guatemala looking the bicycle kick wide of Marcus Hahnemann. You can relate to bicycle kicks, can you?
Not from that far out.
Oh, you can relate.
I can relate to it, yeah. A bit ambitious, too.
All the way back the other way to Klee. Sends it left. Sanabria. Davila. Ponciano. Switches. Home crowd trying to spur on Guatemala in need of points in the standings. The draw is not going to help their cause tonight, especially looking at Mexico and Costa Rica as their last 2 games. Quaranta looking for Cunningham, and that's too far. Klee is back for it in goal for Guatemala. He's played in their last 2 World Cup qualifiers, given up 3 goals in those. You're watching this World Cup qualifier from Guatemala City. Big game for Guatemala. Not as big for this U.S. team in terms of a victory, but individually for players, they're looking for a spot in the next World Cup. Team manager Bruce Arena indicated this week there might be 10 spots open. That's a lot. And a lot to hope for if you're one of these players.
You know, the lineup's going to change. The players are going to change all the way up until next year, and it all depends on how they play. But Bruce Arena, you got to be looking for players that can handle the pressure. You put pressure on yourself enough as it is, but you got to be able to see which players can handle that, which players can't, which players can handle this kind of environment, which players can make that 23-man roster. You need to find some depth, and you need to find some players that can handle this kind of pressure in this atmosphere.
And there might be a surprise or two. Remember in the last World Cup, Pablo Mastroeni did not play a single game in World Cup qualifying, and he was put on the roster and played well. On that challenge there, Guatemala coming back. A USA player is down as Guatemala continues the attack. Also a Guatemala player down upfield too in that collision. So 2 players are down. This portion of the match brought to you by Gatorade. Looks like Conrad for 1, and can't see if it's Thompson or not.
El equipo tico también se acerca al Mundial, asegurando el tercer lugar. Guatemala y Estados Unidos siguen 0-0. ¡Qué momento!
Y sobre todo el empate no le ayuda.
The Guatemalan player comes in. Thompson comes in with his leg extended and the bottom of his feet exposed. Conrad's already down, sliding in. He sticks his foot out. That's a yellow card. Going in like a dangerous play.
So the concern is for Jimmy Conrad of the Kansas City Wizards, who is helped off the field. adjustment now as play continues and the ball goes upfield. And both players who were stretchered off are ready to come back on. With the referee's permission, which they now get. 53rd minute, USA versus Guatemala. Huge game for Guatemala as they hope to get in to their first ever World Cup. Headed away by Convey. Thompson settles. He just came back in. Off the stretcher, taking the shot. Caught by Hahnemann. And the distribution failed.
And that's where you can see right there. Trying to get the ball out quick, trying to start a counterattack. You've been under pressure, you just got to play her back in. Maybe that's when you hold the ball. Well, that's when you hold the ball a little bit, settle everybody down, let everybody get out of your own zone, and then you kick the ball.
Dempsey to Quaranta. On the right side, Albright. Cunningham. Double teamed, played it back, Quaranta. Dempsey looks up. Twelman looked like he let that one go through purposely. For Convey. Back to Vanny. Pablo Mastroeni. Twelman left it. Dempsey. Good possession for the U.S. Albright. Twelman good in the air. Brought it down at the chest. And then tried to go with the right foot. Normally Twelman just bangs those out of the air.
Well, he had plenty of time to bring it down, but I also thought the same thing. I thought the ball coming in, maybe he's going to try to side volley it, knowing that the ground's wet. You could slip, but you got to go with what you're comfortable with.
Is that part of the difference, though, in MLS that you're talking about? The quickness, maybe in MLS he has time to do that, doesn't have it here?
He's got a lot more time in the MLS to bring that down, set it up, and hit it. At this level, you see how fast they close him down. That was Melgar that closed him down that fast. He didn't get time to get a shot off. That's what you talk about. Maybe you try to hit that first time, or you try to hit that across to where Cunningham was.
Told that Eddie Johnson is going to be coming in for Jeff Cunningham. Not just yet. Free kick, either Convey or Vanny, both good left-footed. Saved by Clay, that's his best. Corner, U.S. Oh, no, they're going to say no. He didn't touch it. No flag. Must have gone off the post then.
And we saw this yesterday at training, JP. He was hitting all these, and he was doing the same thing. Just hitting the post, and he does. He does. It looks like he gets a touch on the goalkeeper.
They called it a goal kick. Maybe there was a flag up. I didn't see that. Headed forward the other way by the U.S. Marshall, and that goes out. Throw-in coming up from the far side of the field. This portion of the match brought to you by Home Depot. USA, Guatemala. Scoreless first half. Guatemala haven't beaten the United States since 1988, but the USA have never won here. Coming back on the right side, inside the box, Hahnemann, no rebound. Good job by Hahnemann. There's Eddie Johnson, who will soon be the first USA sub. Intended for Cunningham on the wing. Cut off. Dempsey rolls it to Cunningham. Cunningham dribbling, setting it inside. That was between two players. Good idea, but the ball wasn't close enough to either of the two open players.
And that's what he needs to do more of. He needs to get the ball, run at people like that, and get across. That was a good example of how fast he is on his quick feet. He got it, set him up, set him up. First step, boom, cross the ball.
USA waiting for the referee's permission to sub in Eddie Johnson. Convey off a block. It'll go out of play. The referee's assistant on the far side, or the fourth official, I should say, trying to get the referee's attention. And it is Jeff Cunningham who is going out. Eddie Johnson is coming in. As we said, 8 goals in 8 games. This is a 21-year-old kid who made a name for himself right away last year in qualifying, and USA hoping to get him some game action out because he's missed this international stuff and has only recently come back to play for FC Dallas.
Now it's about getting into form and getting more repetitions, getting more games. But on Jeff Cunningham, I thought it was a stalemate. I thought he didn't help himself, but he didn't hurt himself. He did a few good things. Defensively, he didn't help out. So I think it was a stalemate. I think you have to give this guy a few more games to see what he can really do.
Cross by Sanabria. And that is going to roll out of play. Throw it for the United States as Cunningham sits out the rest of this one. The USA have 2 more games after this. October 8th at Costa Rica. October 12th, that game slated for Foxborough, Massachusetts, Gillette Stadium. USA will close out World Cup qualifying versus Panama.
That's one thing I say right now that I like about Taylor Twellman. The fact that he knows he has to work offensively, but did you see him pressuring right there? As a forward, that is a worse thing for a defender, having a forward that wants to chase you all the way around. That's a plus for Taylor Twellman. Not too many forwards do that.
That's a good point. He does that in MLS too. In the air, Twellman battles for every ball. That's broken up. Taylor's dad, Tim, came to watch the USA play this past Saturday in Columbus, part of that atmosphere. Flag is up on the far side. And play is stopped. Radio Shack presents MLS Soccer Saturday. Returns on a special date and time. Note that it's Sunday, September 18th, live at 2 p.m. Eastern. Eddie Johnson and Carlos Ruiz leading FC Dallas against Real Salt Lake. ESPN and ABC are the official broadcast partners of Major League Soccer in the 2006 FIFA World Cup. All games presented in high definition for the very first time. This one blocked by Guatemala, playing without Carlos Ruiz tonight, who was suspended. That was a key loss for them. Coming through, USA looking. Dempsey will have a go. That's blocked. Center to the corner towards Quaranta. Sanabria playing it back. Melgar for Guatemala. 60th minute. Headed up by Marshall. Cut off there. That's Albright. And Quaranta was cut down by Minor Davila. Tina, one of those young prospects hoping for a spot in Germany. He came from out of nowhere as well. A recent call-up. And he's been around the last few games.
Just haven't seen enough of him, JP. He hasn't really been effective down the right-hand side. The few times he's got it, he's dribbled inside, laid a ball across. That's great. But as an outside fullback or outside midfielder, he needs to get some crosses off. He needs to go at people one-on-one, and just not enough. And understandable, first time he's getting a start for it in a while, and in a big game like this. But in order for the U.S. to be effective, the flanks have to be important. He needs to get more work down the outside and get some more balls into the center forwards.
He is in Steve Ralston's spot, or the spot that Steve Ralston has played in the last several games for the national team. Eddie Johnson, right sideline. Trying to go inside towards the end line. The cross saved by Klee. Twellman trying to bring it down. He was looking for Dempsey. That's blocked. Upfield off Acevedo. Conrad. And that will go wide. Landon Donovan, we're told, is going to be the next USA sub. And coming in for Quaranta. Eddie Johnson to Santino Quaranta. Holding it right. Now plays it to Vanny. Convey. And that's tackled away. Convey's been adventurous on that left side. He's a starter now for his club team, Reading, which he wasn't a year ago, and that obviously has to help him, but now he needs the reps of the national team.
But you can see the difference of playing every day. He comes in here, he's confident, he's dribbled at a few people. That's what it's about. The outside fullbacks, every once in a while, have to play east and west. Most of the time, it's got to be north, and every once in a while, you draw back into the south position, but you have to be able to go forward. You have to be able to get down the wing and cross the ball.
Towards Acevedo, knotted down. Then Albright plays it, intended for Quaranta. Good challenge in the air from Conrad. Now it's Quaranta. This portion of the match brought to you by Comp USA as that ball goes out.
Well, in Guatemala, it's an interesting situation. You've got two big guys in the back, Chad Marshall and Jimmy Conrad, and they keep pumping balls into the air. You're not going to win too many balls. Actually, let me take that back. You're not going to win any balls in the air with those two guys being how tall they are and how good they are in the air.
Davila, the cross, and Hahnemann's got it at the near post. Big opportunity tonight for Marcus Hahnemann because everybody knows Casey Keller is number 1. We believe Tim Howard is number 2.
I tell you what, in my opinion, if Tim Howard's not getting repetition and playing reserve team games or not playing full games like this, like Mark Hahnemann is, you got to say Mark Hahnemann could slip into the number 2 position. It's all about confidence. It's about repetition. It's about getting game time in big situations. That's how goalkeepers get better.
That's why I'm saying we believe. At this point, anyway, the assumption is that Howard is the number 2 guy. Back the other way it goes. Here is Guatemala coming back.
And we'll just leave it at the depth that the U.S. has in goalkeeping. You got Matt Reese, you've got Joe Cannon. The depth you have.
It's always been good back when you were playing.
No doubt, no doubt.
Left side held up there. Guatemala. And that's just an errant ball. You lose possession. It's a freebie going back the other way. So Landon Donovan is going to come in for Santino Quaranta. And Donovan, by playing in this game, still remains as the only guy to play in every one of these World Cup qualifiers for the USA. Coming into this game, he was the only guy to start them all, but obviously with Bruce Arena looking at other players, Landon did not get the start. But he's the 3rd all-time goal scorer in USA national team history, which is impressive when you consider he's 23 years old. So, well, perhaps Landon can help out the forwards, Cello, helping out Eddie Johnson and Taylor Twellman, maybe to get a better supply of the ball. We'll see where Landon plays out there. Probably not in Quaranta's spot, which was wide right. Sent inside toward Klee and put over. Golden opportunity for Taylor Twellman. Still looking for his first international goal. Thought he had one against Trinidad and Tobago, but it was ruled offside.
It's about creating the chances. Dempsey does a good job of holding the ball, and that's what it's about, getting wide. Albright's right there, and you need to finish those. That is what's going to help you get on that 23-man roster, finishing situations like that.
Especially against a goalkeeper that looks like he struggles out there. Here's a lead pass on the left. Acevedo stops. Albright slipped. Not sure what that was, to be honest. Shot or pass, it was pretty bad. This is a World Cup qualifier from Mateo Flores Stadium in Guatemala. Huge game for the home team. USA has already qualified thanks to their win over Mexico. Players looking for spots now for Germany, for the United States, and if they can win the group, that'll be a bonus for them too. No scoring in this one to this point. Portion of the match brought to you by Budweiser. Mexico, by the way, needed just a draw tonight to qualify for the World Cup. They're up over Panama in the second half, 3-0. I don't know about you, Cello, but I figured Panama would pay for Mexico's game on Saturday.
Yeah, everybody knew that was going to happen. You go to Azteca, different ball game. Altitude, the smog, everything gets to you. The pressure of playing there. So yeah, I agree. I think they're gonna pay for what happened in Columbus, Ohio.
Game starting simultaneously tonight, so should be around the same time as this. So Mexico should be about 20 minutes or so, 20 plus, from qualifying for the World Cup. Here's a cross inside, and Hahnemann has that. Costa Rica's opened up their game against Trinidad and Tobago. That's also in the second half. It's now a 2-0 Costa Rica lead. When qualifying started, everyone said top 3 teams in whatever order. USA or Mexico 1 or 2, and then most people figured Costa Rica for 3rd. That's the way it's been turning out.
Well, the U.S. has slipped. Landon Donovan came in for Quarantas. Dempsey slipped out to the right side to take Quarantas' place. And I tell you what, that's a good thing about somebody like Dempsey. Not really know where to play him yet.
He's versatile. Sent inside for Johnson. It didn't make it.
But that can also be a plus because you take a guy that can play multi-positions. You know, it's a utility player.
Mastroeni from long distance. That goes out. ESPN2's presentation of U.S. soccer is brought to you by EA Sports FIFA 2006 in stores soon. By Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure, the king of beers. and by CompUSA. Visit CompUSA today for all your technology needs. Long ball to Acevedo. And Hahnemann has no difficulty with that one either. In the 68th minute. Clay has to get that. Took him a little while to get there with Eddie Johnson bearing in on him. Guatemala going long towards the right wing, and it's deflected out by the United States, so it's a throw in for Guatemala. Played back by Acevedo. Giron makes the run. Looks for the help. Donovan marking Giron. Quick shot, Thompson, and on the bounce. Hahnemann's right there. As wet as this field has been, it has not posed too many problems. We've seen players slipping in the first half, and maybe some of them changed footwear, as you had said before, but hasn't seemed to be a big problem.
You know, neither team has really gotten inside the 18 and created something to get excited about it. I mean, Twillman had a chance, should have put that away. Besides that, everything else has been about 30, 35 yards. A little surprised Guatemala's not putting more pressure, knowing they need a result. I'm guessing they think 1 point, the fourth place, a point to point. You got to accumulate points at this stage of the game. But playing at home, you got to go out for the win. You got to try to win to give yourself a chance. You don't want to go to the playoff position. No. That's just something you don't want to put yourself in.
A point tonight could help them if Trinidad continues to lose to Costa Rica. But this game is a long way from being over, too, and obviously Guatemala doesn't want to lose it. Foul on Albright. Free kick, Guatemala. 70th minute. Davila will leave it for Gonzalo Romero. And as the U.S. gets ready to defend, that ball is played in quickly, wide of Hahnemann. Well, we talked at the top about the new forwards getting an opportunity. We talked about Jeff Cunningham, who came on cello. Your observation on Taylor Twellman?
He's created a few chances. He had a good chance to put it away. Besides that, he hasn't really connected with either Cunningham or with Eddie Johnson yet. And in that position is a guy that plays with his back towards goal. So it's going to take time to get used to playing there and matching up. I think he's done okay.
He's a different type of player than Cunningham. Does Taylor Twellman have to score goals at the international level, or can he do enough other things so that maybe he still gets a shot on the team?
Yeah, forwards, real easy way to make the team. Score a few goals, get on a streak at the right time, you're on the World Cup team.
Sports of the match brought to you by Gatorade as Albright came in inside the box. Hahnemann trying to call for that ball as Albright gets stripped. And that's going to go against Guatemala, who just brought on a sub, Carlos Figueroa. Didn't see who came out. We'll try to check that in the 71st minute.
Here's a foul. Just a minute ago, Albright goes to clear the ball, and it looks like just right there he got clipped a little bit.
Twellman heading it forward in the 71st minute.
Twellman real quick. Twellman is a Brian McBride kind of model. Knock the ball down, set it up your partner, get in the box, and score a goal.
Shot saved by Hahnemann. Corner, Guatemala.
Wow. Big time save right there. Sprawls out, gets his left hand in the air, and puts it away. That's a great save.
Romero off a flick. Cleared away by Donovan. Eddie Johnson after it. Big scramble for that loose ball. Melgar. So Freddie Thompson was the player that came out for Guatemala. I thought he was one of the more effective players today.
Maybe that injury that he had with Jimmy Conrad in the tackle maybe got to him. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Carlos Figueroa came in with 3 international goals in 27 appearances to his credit. Marcus Hahnemann put it into play. Looking for Clint Dempsey, last year's Rookie of the Year in Major League Soccer, having an even better year in year 2. Twellman left it. Deflected ball. Guatemala looks for it. Donovan putting some pressure on. He gets called for the foul. 73rd minute. Guatemala and the USA scoreless. Not a lot of great chances tonight for either side. Minor Davila. Dempsey chasing him. Left side, Sanabria. Looking inside, another miss hit. Seemed like a decent ball there, but it was missed by Plata.
And this was an earlier save. Let's take a look from the Phillips goal camp from behind. Here comes the ball. Here comes Marcus. And look at his hand right up there. That's a great save. Sprawled out. Just gets a fingertip on it to put it wide. Keeper's got to come up with a few big saves a game to keep your team in the game. That's the second one Marcus has saved.
Marcus, last international game for the USA, July 7th, a 4-1 win versus Cuba. That was in a Gold Cup where he made 5 saves. He has been playing regularly with Reading, and he tells us really 2 games a week. He's in a 24-team division, so they're playing a bunch of games. Brought down by Guatemala. 74th minute. Sanabria. And you wonder if as this game ticks down, if Guatemala won't feel that pressure more to go forward and try to get that win. Here's Romero. That's blocked. Sanabria. Minor Davila. Chased by Dempsey. Luciano puts it up there towards Plata. That's cleared. USA looking for it. Convey. Eddie Johnson. Receiving and running. Allows the help to come. Pushing forward, USA goes to Johnson. And he floats it up on the right side. Not a down, but wide. It was Twellman. That looked like a busted play that almost resulted in a goal. And Dempsey just gets nailed right down below us on the sideline. And there are 2 players down. Although Sanabria went down much later.
Well, you know what? Silly foul for Sanabria. He's got 2 players from Guatemala right there. He's already can't look. He's got the sign. That's 1 defender, 2 defender. The 3rd defender comes in there. Just hold him up. There's no need to foul the guy. Now you're giving the U.S. an opportunity to send their big guys up there. Marshall, Conrad, Twellman, and get an opportunity on goal on a set piece, which the U.S. has to take advantage of on these pieces.
It's Donovan and Convey. Convey, left-footed, headed away. This portion of the match brought to you by Comp USA. Conrad switching it left. Greg Vanny. And that goes on a play. Throw-in coming up. USA on the ball in the 76th minute to Eddie Johnson. Eddie checking back, finding Vanny. Didn't hit that one well, but Conrad saved it. Sends it the other way, intended for Twellman, who can run all night. On this left side, Guatemala, USA pressure. Dempsey stopped them. Dempsey stopped by Davila and then whipped the leg around after him. That'll be a free kick coming up for the United States. We're coming to you live tonight from Guatemala City. Mateo Flores Stadium, World Cup qualifying. Guatemala looking for wins. USA already clinching a spot, looking at players to take them to the next level of the World Cup. Inside, Twellman, and the save by Clee, rebound. Another shot, side netting. Is that Marshall that got it or Twellman?
And that's why you have him up there. You see him go far post. Great ball into the far post. Marshall gets up, heads it back into right onto the goal. But and that's what you have to take advantage of such big guys. The fact that Marshall, Conrad, Twellman, Dempsey,
Blatt is coming out.
You see Marshall in there. The ball goes right back. Twillman takes a shot at it. Marshall again just puts it wide. But that's better. At least they were dangerous on a set piece.
Meanwhile, the sub that comes in, Edwin Villatoro, 5 goals in 13 qualifiers. Some thought he might be starting tonight. He's coming off the bench. 1 goal scored in World Cup qualifying for him. So that's it. 3 subs have been made for Guatemala. The USA have made 2. And that's going to go out of play. Hahnemann will put it back into play. Guatemala is the place where the new CBS show Survivor, with all these people stranded. And right now, it's Guatemala trying to survive CONCACAF, if you will. In 4th place, tied with Trinidad and Tobago. Looking for points here. Guatemala on the ball. 79th minute. Intended for Acevedo.
Well, you know, if Trinidad loses, Guatemala has to tie that 1 point's a very important point. At the end, it could come down. They definitely have. Guatemala has the hardest schedule towards the end. Playing in Mexico City and then playing home against Costa Rica.
Poor Panama. Mexico's really taking it to them. We mentioned a 3-0 lead before. They've upped it. As this ball goes out, it'll be a USA throw, and it's now 5-0 Mexico.
Well, you know, and Guatemala could be lucky. They could take advantage. The U.S. qualified. They bring a younger team. Mexico qualifies. Maybe Mexico brings a younger team, and Guatemala has to take advantage of these kind of games.
Here is Guatemala in the 80th minute. Acevedo, not a good touch. Mastroeni, good second effort from Pablo. Conrad swings it to Albright. Clearing up for grabs. Conrad sends it the other way. Vanny is back for it. Costa Rica still leading Trinidad and Tobago 2-0. Give away to Twellman. 3-on-2. Twellman looks up, feeds it left. Played back. Johnson nods it wide. That's the best chance USA has had tonight. And he knows it.
That's much better. Twillman gets it wide. Landon fakes a shot, crosses. Eddie Johnson sees that whole corner right there open and mishits it. You know, that's when you got to attack the ball with the front of your hand, not the side, and just bury the ball in the back of the net. Hit it down so it skips.
I thought both guys were unselfish. Twellman and Donovan could have done something on their own as well. Got a player down for Guatemala in the 81st minute.
You know, the ground's already wet. Make sure you hit the ball down. Make sure you put it on target, and that's what it's about. Put the ball on target from that close. But you're right. Landon could have taken a touch and hit it left-footed, but he sees Eddie Johnson, the far post. That's the problem right there. Eddie gets up, tries to put it too close into that corner, and he goes wide. You got to put that on target, make the keeper make a save from that closer range.
This portion of the match brought to you by Phillips. Couldn't see who that player was, stretchered off. Amidst the medical staff, Melgar looks like number 3. Great crowd tonight. Great energy from their fans, much like we saw Saturday in Columbus. That was a treat just to watch that game. Long ball, far side. Albright nods it down.
I'll tell you what's amazing, too, the fact that how Sam's Army has grown from year to year to year. That is awesome.
All the way back to Klee. 82nd minute. Guatemala and the United States scoreless. Into the middle it goes. Villatoro now deflects out. Throw in Guatemala. Sanabria. Villatoro. Davila is the intended receiver of that. Cut off. Albright, and then he gets nailed by Davila. It's got to be a card. Not sure what took so long for that one to come out of the pocket, but that was a good whack in the end.
And it's a great, Chris Albright does a great job of covering it. There's a kick right there.
Needless.
Silly, that's just frustration. That's frustration. The fact that Guatemala has not done a good job tonight of getting towards goal. And you can see right here the frustration of swinging, kicking him high. And he should have been walking over with the yellow card already out.
Dempsey was looking. Twelman was cutting inside. And that ball went outside. Dempsey fighting to win it back. Holding on to Sanabria. Romero plays it back. Mastroeni. The quick look up. Conde on the run. That one's blocked. Cleared by Guatemala. USA number 6 in the world right now according to FIFA rankings. They could climb over Mexico, you would think, in the next rating since they beat them. Guatemala ranked 59th. Eddie Johnson. Slowed down. Nice as he took it back. Mastroeni up the middle. Twelman tried to turn. Broken up by Guatemala. Lead pass. Conrad is back there. You talked about the central defenders. How have they done tonight? Conrad and Marshall.
I think their stock went up. They both played well. Never got beat. Never put themselves in a bad position. Covered for each other well. I definitely think both of their stocks, Chad Marshall and Jimmy Conrad's stock went up today.
Here is Dempsey on the right. Down he goes on what looked like a hip check for the NHL getting ready to start again. Sanabria. He passed it outside. Villatoro cut inside. That's Marshall. Brought down by Taylor Twelman. Sliding it across. Vanny jumps up into the play. Wide left to Convey. Cutting inside, then lost it. It allows Guatemala to get back and defend in numbers. Pablo Mastroeni, 85th minute. Off Donovan. Landon getting it back. To Dempsey. He was looking, looked like for Twelman. And that's over Clay.
You know, I'm going to say this. Major League Soccer has brought the national team a long way. Look at the depth that is out on this field that is in Major League Soccer right now. The two center backs, Kansas City Wizards, Conrad. You got Chad Marshall with the Columbus Crew. You've got Chris Albright with the LA Galaxy. Dallas represented by Eddie Johnson and Greg Vanny. That's a lot of depth, something we didn't have when we played. Now the opportunity these guys that Bruce Arena has to watch these guys day in, day out, and that's the reason why the league was formed.
If you joined us late, 9 MLS starters tonight, with Hahnemann and Convey being the lone exceptions of guys playing in Europe. And both of those guys used to play in Major League Soccer. Guatemala with the ball. With time running out. 86th minute. Albright chasing it down and just played it safely out. Davila on the throw in, and he's going to give it up to Sanabria instead. Davila kicked away, and it's going to be a goal kick for Marcus Hahnemann. .33-year-old Marcus Hahnemann from Seattle, Washington. Strong right leg towards Eddie Johnson. Now to Twelman, but that was cut off at the last moment by Guatemala. Twelman's been in the action though tonight, running hard the entire night both ways, and we're 87 minutes in. Dempsey, that's blocked. Guatemala coming back. USA not giving them much room. In the middle, Villatoro. No foul called. Twelman turning, facing. And now that pass was intercepted.
But that was a good example right there. He had an opportunity to play Albright, play the simple ball. In the MLS, you can play that ball. At this level, you can't. You need to get off your feet quick, pass it, and move.
People will tell you that to play the game or coach at the high level, big difference in international soccer, and it's the speed of play. Takes a while to get used to. Left side, cross by the USA, and that time Cleve did well. Looked sure-handed for one of the few times tonight. Ralston is up, ready to come on for the United States. He would be their third sub, third and final. Acevedo blocked. Conrad clearing it. A lot of room there. Convey. Twelman in the middle. Taylor Twelman. Eddie Johnson. That was a hard pass. Eddie gets it. Shot taken that was blocked. And the USA come away empty. Play will clear. Marshall in the air. Powerful header. Almost to Donovan, not quite. A bump there on the side results in a foul on Convey. And here the substitution will take place. Steve Ralston will come in. We're told for Clint Dempsey, and that's the deal. So Dempsey goes out. Played hard. 88 plus minutes. His Revolution teammate Steve Ralston will come in. Ralston scored the game's first goal against Mexico to help the USA qualify for the next World Cup in advance. Here's a chance for Guatemala, perhaps. On a cutting ball. Marshall reads it, clears it. Throw in coming up in the 89th minute. Vanny. Oh, that's a bad one right there. Just at the edge of the box. And a quick restart, too fast. I think that ball was still moving and wasn't kicked from the right spot.
And that was a good example. There was no need for Vanny to dive in or to try to sneak around to get the ball. Hold him up in front of you, make him force the ball back.
90th minute. Hahnemann save right there from point-blank range, and now it's cleared. There's a golden opportunity, though, for Guatemala to get the game's first and only goal. Albright played stronger 1v1 and knocked it away. It'll still be a Guatemala throw-in. Sanabria. Inside, Davila leads it. Villatoro, shot on the post! He had Hahnemann beat, second shot, high! Guatemala are unlucky. That should have been a game winner. Either one. Corner, Guatemala.
Great move by Villatoro, cutting that ball back and hitting it near post.
Romano. Headed in. Loose, Conrad clears it away. This game now in stoppage time. On the run, Landon Donovan. Cleve was way upfield. And now it's coming back toward him. Boy, they were scrambling. Cleve was way upfield, I think, probably from that last corner kick, trying to help out. And instead, he could have been the GOAT. Here's Donovan on the far side. Played across, nobody there. Ralston trying to send it over. First minute of stoppage time.
There's a look right there. Look at Marcus Ankensby right off the post. And when you're unlucky, you're unlucky. That ball, he had Marcus Sanderman thinking going far post. Villatoro hit it near post.
There was plenty of room there. You could see it. Any other deflection, that's in. Foul was called. I don't know if you saw it or not, but I didn't see a stoppage time signal. Couple of minutes, we're told. All right, second minute now. So there can't be much left unless the referee puts more on. Ralston crossing. It's deflected out. Donovan. That was a good, smart move to keep possession to Mastroeni. Pablo cutting ball to Taylor Twelman. Inside, Eddie Johnson turning, using his speed, cutting. Johnson. Wide, Ralston couldn't play it well, but Steve gets possession, crosses. Guatemala knocking it away. Hard challenge by Albright. Good fight for that ball in the closing seconds. And now Ralston touched it out. Seconds away from the end of this. Here's Guatemala. Switching, right flank. They gain the halfway line and then lose it. That might be it. That is it. On Marco Rodriguez's final whistle, this one is over. Guatemala, though, even though they wanted to win, get a point. So for fourth place, they will push over Trinidad and Tobago. Meanwhile, the USA still has only that one loss in qualifying. That was to Mexico. They avenged that last Saturday. USA getting a draw on the road, so they'll pick up another point in the CONCACAF standings. We'll be back to wrap things up.
Hi, let's do this.
Stadium in Guatemala City, a scoreless match, USA-Guatemala. Cello, who for the USA helped themselves tonight in this live audition?
I think there was 3 or 4 guys. For me, Marcus Hanneman helped himself tremendously tonight. His stock went up. Chad Marshall's stock went up. Jimmy Conrad's stock went up. And I think Bobby Convey's stock went up. Those guys played well. They showed they can handle the pressure, and especially Marcus Hanneman with the saves he made tonight.
So the final score tonight from Guatemala City, USA 0 and Guatemala 0. MLS returns Sunday, September 18th live at 2 p.m. Eastern. Real Salt Lake meeting FC Dallas. Coming up next, it's ESPN Hollywood. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. From Marcelo Balboa, I'm JP Dellacamera. So long from Guatemala.